Hello everyone, my name is Suleiman Farazala and today we're gonna continue our Ultimate Guide to Chess Part 2. Yesterday on the previous lesson we learned how to move, how to use pieces, how do they move and what patterns do we have on the chessboard. Today we're gonna get more detailed, today we're gonna learn what value each piece has and how to use it more efficiently. We'll describe some tactics and use a real game example for you to better understand everything. So let's begin. Since in the last video we began with pawns, today we will do it as well. So let's start with the most common and the most simple piece on the chessboard, but its value is way deeper than it is actually. So first of all, pawn is the most common piece on the chessboard. It is 16 pieces overall, if we say so. But its worth is 1 point. 1 unit, 1 point, 1 pawn equal 1 exactly. So it is the most cheapest and least valuable piece, but it has the most interesting abilities and opportunities. It may become a queen, a bishop, a knight, or a rook. If it will be, it will go on the last rank of your opponent. So, as I already mentioned, it is able to go 2 squares or 1 square on the first move, and will continue by 1 square movement, and then only may capture things with eating them horizontally. But there's an additional rule which you don't probably know. So for example, I move 2 pieces, my opponent goes with another opening for me, moving only 1 further, and I will advance, I will say so, and then he maybe makes this move, for example with d5, and now we have an interesting move that is very uncommon but is needed to be known because it is tricky thing. If a pawn of your opponent goes 2 squares forward and your pawn is on the fifth rank, it can take it like this. It is called en passant from the French. You can take it and he will grab you back, but the case thing is, it is very uncommon and tricky move because it's hard to remember, and you need to try this in your games because it's very interesting. So let's go to the second piece. Now the glorious, the mighty one, a knight. A piece that is value 3 points, but its movement pattern is very unuseful. And it is very useful, but it's very unusual. So, and as I said, I'm using the Italian game, which is very good for beginners. And it starts with e4, opponent plays e5, you play knight to g3. See, this is the main move of your knight. And in order to defend his pawn, your opponent will try to defend it by himself, also making a development, because you develop your knight and he will also develop in order for him to defend the pawn back if you are trying to take it. And you will just continue by move c4, then maybe d3, castle, developing bishops and developing a knight and everything like this. But we are here to game for a knight. Why is it worth only 3 pawns? Only 3 points? Why isn't it worth 4 or 5? It is worth 3 pawns because, for example, if you're in an endgame, there is 3 parts of the chess game. The first one, the opening, the beginning, which is called debut. The second one is called middle game. The third one is called the end game. The second one is actually called Mittelspiel in Russian, but it is middle game. And first one you can call just beginning because I forgot throughout the video that is it actually debut. So let's go with why knight is worth 3 points. It is worth so because it can stop. It is worth 3 pawns, it can attack everything, but if these pawns are promoted, it is hard to counter them with only a knight. And it might get very inactive and unused because in open positions. For example, in an endgame, you have very low amount of pieces and it's hard to use it to attack and use it throughout this game. But on the other hand, it is very useful if the position is stuck. There's a lot of pieces on the board, especially in middle game. So this is the main purpose of the knight, and as I said in previous video, you can have your knight as an ideal, for example, trap maker. For example, your opponent plays just this to advance, and if he was a little bit dumb or moving incorrectly, you can create him a lot of stress. For example, yes, I move here, and for example, I can move here, which is called fried liver attack. Knight has a lot of opportunities to attack Z square in F7, and if, for example, this rook will not be defending, will move incorrectly, your knight is having a lot of, it could have a lot of attacks, and you can create it by yourself, creating a lot of opportunities for your knight to move in every position. So let's continue and come to the bishop. Sorry if I'm doing it a little bit fast, because we have a limited time for me to create my videos, and you should be, in order for you to be interested, we'll define the properties of bishop. As I already mentioned in the previous video, in the beginning of the game, for example, white bishop can go this or this directions if it wants in the beginning of the game, and the pawns are not blocking its way. For example, let's play the basic Italian game. As you can see here, Italian game is very used among the beginner players, and as you can see, it is good at targeting every piece. And for example, your opponent goes for a regular development, maybe does some prophylaxis, I don't know, like copies your move, for example. And when you develop your both bishops, you can have a thing named pin, when your opponent cannot move this knight whatsoever because your bishop is pinning it to its queen, and if you move your knight, he will lose his queen. So this is called a pin, and it is also worth only 3 points, only 3 pawns, because it is bad in close position. It has a lot of move for breathing, it cannot go anywhere, but in the end game this thing becomes really active. It may become worth more than a knight, but they are pretty equal on the same level because they both have their disadvantages and advantages, relying on different situations that occur on the chessboard. So the bishop is tough.
Now hear this. The rook!
The tower that protects your king and gives him a room to breathe, to develop. For example, from this position we can see that our king has an ability to go, or opponent's king, black's king, can go for a move castle, moving his king 2 squares right, and his rook will be just left to him. So this is how it works. It is pretty simple, and we can do this thing as well. And on the left side, if the queen is moved away from the way for our pieces to castle, and for example, in this position our rook is now active because it has some room to go for the e-file, develop itself, play good, play developing moves, and when everything is pretty much open, for example like this, your pieces now become connected. Now both of your rooks become connected, as if you, for example, place this move, and now 2 rooks are stronger than a queen. they worth 5 points because they have opportunities in both middle game and in endgame situations, and while connected, so 2 rooks worth 10 points, their value is more than queen, which is 9 points. Queen is worth 9 points because it is as a bishop and the rook, but combined, so it can move horizontally, diagonally, and vertically, I would say so. Because it is in one piece, it is worth 9 points. Instead of these two worthing only 8 points. But when we have 2 rooks, their connection is stronger and they are able to defeat 1 queen in this battle. In the endgame, for example, but it is not always so if based on mistakes that you can make, because if you divide them, this queen can take your rook and you will be much worse. So this is why how you should connect your rooks and activate them through castling, and how your queen works, and why this value is only 5 points. Now here is the queen. The queen is the most valuable piece in this chessboard. As I already mentioned, it is worth 9 points, and it might go in basically every direction except for knight movement. It can go horizontally, vertically, diagonally. It can do everything. It is very active in middle game and in end game, especially when your pawn is promoted to a queen. You have 1 point becoming a 9 points, and you have a dominant position. That's why pawns and queens are completely related. So in order to use queen, you can also have things called forks, maybe other opportunities when you target 2 pieces immediately. For example, let's make a regular position. This is the regular position, and for example, you play, I don't know, pawn. We will just trade off some pieces, and now here we have, okay, position is clearly shown like this. It is not that bad. For example, what a pawn we can play here. For example, opponent are placed here, attacking this thing and this thing immediately. It is called a fork, but because we can defend, queen is very good at retreating also. And we see what is knight capable of. It is very good to know about this. But in the game I will show you how does the queen work. And now here he is, the ultimate monarch, the most weakest piece on the chessboard. It cannot sacrifice itself or do anything else, but his worth is approximately 70 points in calculation of both opponent's pieces and your pieces, because if your king is captured, meaning gets checkmated and you lost the game, it is worth the entire battle. So the queen is the most worth the most, but he's not capable of basically anything. He's only active in the end game, by the way. I do not recommend you to use your king except for castling throughout the opening and throughout the middle game, so use him clever or use him smartly and not make any mistakes while using him. Now let's go for a little blitz game when I can show you basically everything that you learned and maybe something more, because I am pretty skillful. It is good that you already know a lot, and now we will develop your knowledge more, and maybe I'll show you some additional tactics. I don't play blitz a lot because I like rapid format, and now we will play, as I already said, the Italian game. Okay, pawn to e4, he plays pawn to e5, we'll go for knight to f3, he goes to knight c6, I will go for bishop c4, this move is moves that protects him from this attack of a bishop leading to a pin. So this is a good move for a beginner in my opinion. Now let me play d3 to defend both my bishop and his pawn, making the structure more solid in the future. And for threats like this, it is a good protection. Now let's develop my knight toward the center. See how both knights look and being active on the center, with the bishop additionally on this side. And if I take my bishop, for example, now I cannot take my bishop there, but I will simply castle. Use my white pieces, so I start the game first as my good useful thing. Okay, we will continue with move h3 in order to protect, for the same reason as this move, from attack of a bishop. If you saw all these notifications, sorry, this is not me, I hate it already, go away. Sorry. I love chess, but sometimes it is really stupid. To develop my bishops and connect my rooks, I can go for this, because as I already mentioned, I'm active, and now if he take double pawns is bad most of the time because they become less active and there is no protection for this pawn. But we have now rook opened to the file, to this file, and now I think if I move my knight goodly, I will have maybe some good movements for myself. Notice how he cannot, for example, sacrifice this piece, because I will just take off open file, and this will be a good check. And he does these mistakes, he does it. And now there is a tactic for mate in 2. I will not tempt you, you just see, notice if there is a mate in 2 and tell me if there is. You can pause the video actually. So in this position I play bishop f7, checking the king. He cannot take my bishop because the rook is a protection of my bishop. And now if he retreats anywhere, this square will all bad, because I have my knight here who is ready to checkmate. This is a mate, guys. It is a very good game from my opponent. Thank you, Rafan13. Now he cannot escape the square, he cannot eat his own pieces to escape. He cannot go here because my bishop is protecting and I'm attacking the square. He cannot do anything. This is a check and mate. Call it checkmate. So this is how you play your games. It is very good. Use this opening as an example for your games and learn from it, because every piece has its value. You can use them as for good and for bad for yourself. So use them efficiently. Use all the things I showed: pins, forks, mates, what's the value of every piece and how to open them, activate them, for example like rooks, in your future chess games. Please be efficient, continue to grow. This is Ultimate Guide to Chess. Now you know the rules of chess basically, and I will show you more with tactics and my own games, as that you can see on this channel. So this is my third video. I think you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and we'll meet in the next games. Thank you, goodbye.